What's going on, guys? Greek Freak here, and in this video we're going to be talking about Andre Iguodala and the fact of trade rumors surrounding him. And right now it's looking like the Dallas Mavericks and Houston Rockets are the two teams interested in picking up Andre Iguodala. Now I'm going to talk about directly why these two teams would want him, but of course I want to go over directly what's happened with Andre Iguodala in case you just don't know, because it was some almost under the radar type things as far as the way it was reported. But in the three-team trade, in the sign and trade deal that ended up getting D'Angelo Russell to the Warriors, we ended up also seeing the fact that Andre Iguodala ended up going to the Memphis Grizzlies, where usually in a situation like this, teams like the Memphis Grizzlies try to look to buy out a player like this, and it was a reason to just be able to help out as far as creating cap space, creating more room for other things, and trying to sign other players and create more space in other ways. Now, usually for this, but it's being reported that the Memphis Grizzlies are not looking to buy out Andre Iguodala, who would therefore after that be able to sign with any team. They are more interested in trading him, which I guess the reason for that would be the fact that there is actual interest surrounding Andre Iguodala. Now, Memphis is not going to obviously get anything major out of this type of trade or by any means, and we all know directly why these teams are more interested in going for the trade now instead of waiting for just a random pickup as far as just signing somebody to a minimum contract, most likely by the time that Andre Iguodala will be bought out. Now, the reason for that would be the fact that they're most likely not going to be the front runners in Andre Iguodala's choice to go to. Now, the reason why this is actually big could be in the fact of it. Now, he's obviously not a major regular season type player. I take him more as somebody that you want to have in the locker room. As you can see here in his stats, around 5.7 points per game, 3 assists per game, around almost 4 rebounds, and almost a block and a steal per game. And then, of course, when you see the playoffs, he actually even steps up more, which is usually what the Warriors did. They kept him more reserve during the regular season, and then during the playoffs, that's whenever they ended up using him. Now, the reason why he got traded, I'm going to have to go with the coincidental, him basically saying the fact that their medical staff was very much unknowing of what they were doing and would be willing to actually mislead the player. And that really made them look bad in many ways. And I don't think it was a coincidence that he ended up getting traded afterward. Now, the reason why he did state these types of things was definitely the fact he was on sort of a media tour trying to sell his new book that he's got, and in that situation you have to think usually people will say things that are sort of related into that book and things like that. And when players asked him, he was basically just honest about what he thought was going on with the Warriors and how Kevin Durant was. He also stated the fact that he thought that they would be able to re-sign Clay and Durant, but obviously that didn't go out well there. And in the situation where he ended up getting traded to the Grizzlies, he's now looking between the two teams. Now, the first team I'm going to be talking about is going to be the Houston Rockets. Now, of course, the major reason why I think the Rockets would be a good fit is the fact we saw exactly how Andre Iguodala played against teams such as the Rockets and the Trailblazers when it came to the defensive side of the basketball. He really was able to interrupt, get into the passing lanes, stop plays from being made. When we saw Damian Lillard make that game-winning shot against the Thunder, we definitely saw the fact that he had the same opportunity going against the Warriors to prevent getting swept, but Andre Iguodala got a hand on the ball, swiped it clean, and then we definitely saw what happened there. He was a big part of it. He steps up in the playoffs, so he's a good playoff player, something that the Rockets need. They need players who are known for actually doing better in the playoffs rather than either not doing better or getting even worse. Now, another thing to it is the Houston Rockets, I may make a video on this, but they seem to be in very much a dysfunction to me, because you're talking about a team that, yes, it was only really getting beat by the Warriors, but whenever we really look at this, we have to think of the fact that all the drama that's been going on with them lately. Everybody was available for trade, and then all of a sudden they were not really looking for trades. Then they looked for a trade with Jimmy Butler, where they were heavily pushing to trade multiple players. And if you're a veteran or even a younger player in this league, going into a situation where you may be traded at any moment and know the fact that you're expendable doesn't really show the confidence that you guys have to win the championship. And maybe it brings in bad chemistry. We already know the fact that there was beef between James Harden and Chris Paul. And I think the fact that somebody with a veteran championship aspirations like Andre Iguodala could be a good fit. Now, for the Dallas Mavericks, I think the fact that it's just a good fit for them as far as a younger team. Obviously, I don't think of there being a direct impact to the results of their direct season, but I think for the development of their players, having a player such as Andre Iguodala is very good when we really look at it. You're talking about very young players trying to learn how to win, as they will be definitely being more expected to compete more than they have in the previous years now, adding Kristaps Porzingis, Luka Doncic going into his second year, and them trying to make more moves as far as that goes. They also will have more cap space, being capable of signing future free agents in the future years. So we're going to have to see how this works out for them. And I think the fact that you want to add a veteran leadership that actually shows, hey, this is how you want to perform, this is what you should do during the highs, the lows, and everything to it. And you want a veteran player such as Andre Iguodala, who has championship pedigree, to go onto your team and help develop some of your younger players. But as far as that, I think the fact that Andre Iguodala is obviously a good player for those two teams. I think the Rockets would need him more in the sense of, I think you need to add something to that Rockets team, because if you go in there with the same thing, you're going to end up with dysfunction. For the Mavericks, I just think the fact that if you go in there with that team, it's just the fact of you probably want some type of veteran in there just to help out. You don't want a completely young team that's not really well knowing of what to do in certain situations, and somebody to help them out as far as on and off the court whenever it comes to that. So I think the fact that adding a player like Andre Iguodala is going to be one of those underseen type of moves where you could see the fact that it's going to help a team, but maybe not something as noticeable as basketball play in general as far as adding a superstar caliber player. I think the fact that this is something that subtly helps the team in the locker room, things like that, things you don't really get to see from a high-end expectancy. And then in the playoffs, if he goes to Houston or something, I think the fact he can step it up there and help them when it comes to getting stops, playing defensively, trying to run plays. He's obviously an unselfish player. When he comes onto the court, he averages around 4 assists per game when it comes to the playoffs. So it's something that really does work out well. But guys, of course, as always, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are as far as Andre Iguodala being traded from the Warriors after just that coincidental sort of leaking of what was going on with their medical staff. And then, of course, what team do you think he should go to? What team do you think he'll end up with at the beginning of next season? Do you think he'll be actually bought out? They won't get a trade to get done? And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure that you guys leave a like and subscribe to become part of the Greek Army today. And as always, this is Sparta.